Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about economics. And of course, the goal of all of economics is happiness, individual and societal welfare getting better. You're getting wealthier, you're getting more satisfied. But the problem here is we all suffer from scarcity, which is limited resources to fulfill unlimited wants and needs. Now, we've taken time to look at the idea of wants and needs and how people and societies prioritize. Now we're going to look at that circled part. We're going to look at resources. Okay, we're looking here at resources, and resources have another name. In economics, all resources are known as factors of production. So, factors of production are simply resources, and those resources are land, labor, and capital. And the people that put them all together to start a business are known as entrepreneurs. All right. So, factors of production are the limited resources that we're talking about. Now, there are three factors of production. Every resource that is on planet Earth is divided up into three different factors of production. One, two, three. Number one is land. Land is all natural resources, anything that is a product of purely nature. So, sunlight. Sunlight is natural. Trees are natural. Water is natural. Grain is natural. All these things that are involved that have come from gifts of nature would be considered land. Now, take a look at this right here. Notice you have vines here, you have like trellises and this vineyard. That is not land. The vineyard itself is not land. The actual vines are gifts of nature. That is land. But a vineyard, it was made by people. Notice right here the oil platform. The water is land. The oil that the oil platform is pumping is land. But the oil platform itself, that is not land. All right. So you have to have nature to actually be considered land. Notice this. This is the city of Ukiah right here. The city of Ukiah has a lot of different things, but the property that the city of Ukiah is on would be considered land. So something like, Ukiah High School. Ukiah High School is not land, but the property that the high school sits on, that is actually land. All right. So the second economic factor of production is called physical capital. Physical capital is simply goods, so they're tangible things, goods produced by people used to produce other goods and services. So airplanes are used to deliver cargo and passengers. We use scissors and hammers for all kinds of things. Smartphone right here, that's used to develop other things. Cranes make buildings. Warehouses supply goods at different places, trucks, you name it. This thing right here, pencil. That's physical capital. I use it to produce other goods and services. I use this to design things, to write things down. All right. So anything made by people with the intent that it's going to be used to be made to make other things, that is considered capital, physical capital. All right. Now, physical capital's main purpose is actually to make people more productive. So, like you think about counting. In the beginning, you counted using your fingers, and then you would use stones and an abacus. And then you get these different little manual style calculators. This is all capital. Once you get to stones, that's all forms of capital. And then, of course, you get like digital calculators and smartphones eventually. Washing machines started as really hard manual type things, and then they've worked over to currently where you throw in your clothes in a washing machine and detergent and boom, hit a button, there it goes. Warehouse, like when you move things in a warehouse, you used to do it by carts, like a utility cart. And then you'd have these guided vehicles that would move around very specific lines. And sometimes they had hydraulics so you can lift heavier things. Now you have autonomous robots that move things around warehouses. It makes the job of the people that are within that job much more productive. It takes a lot quicker time to count something on this than using my fingers. It also makes land more productive. We are producing more agriculture than we ever have in human history on this planet. but the amount of land we use on noted here in green, the amount of land that is actually used on agriculture has gone down since the late 1990s. Why? Because you have things like drip irrigation, you have GMOs that allow you to produce a whole lot more food on a smaller plot of land. We just use things more efficiently because physical capital makes land and makes people much more productive. Okay. The last factor of production is called labor. Labor is people engaging for work in which they are paid. So if you go somewhere and you provide work for somebody, they give you an income. That is known as labor. You would be labor. Now, labor must be a person, it cannot be an animal. Animals are capital. They are used as a form of technology, in some cases, lower level technology, and some more complicated, but they have to be people. A slave, a slave is not labor. A slave is considered property and capital. In terms of slaves, labor is much more efficient if you pay a human being than having somebody do work against their will. Not only is it considered immoral, it's just not very good in terms of resources. Labor will do much better than having a human being as capital. But your job here at school is to develop what's known as human capital. And human capital is all skills and knowledge of the workforce, whether it's talent, knowledge, skills, your training and creativity, your health, your judgment, your energy, all these things you're developing constantly in your life is known as human capital. And when labor is hired to do a job, it's usually based on some form of human capital. So remember, there's two types of capital. There's the primary physical capital, that's the goods that are used to make other goods. Human capital is skills and knowledge of the labor workforce. That's the connection there. Now, entrepreneurs, what they do is they look at these resources around the world, they take a risk, and they try to create goods and services based on the resources they see. Somebody out there is looking at land, labor, capital, and Elon Musk looks at it and says, I can create rockets or I can create tunnel drilling equipment. Jeff Bezos looked and said, I know how to form a better bookstore and I know how to use this new thing called the internet. Oprah empowers women with her brand. Beyonce creates a production company that does a better job developing her own brand of videos. Steve Jobs, develops digital music, gets rid of things like CDs and cassette tapes. Actually, when you think about it, probably does an enormous benefit to the environment because you have way less waste. And then somebody like Andrew Carnegie says, I can develop steel much more quicker and cheaper on average. Entrepreneurs are business owners. They see land, labor, capital in a certain way, and they say, you know what, I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to get into economics rule number one, which is I'm going to get it for my self interest. I want to make a profit. So I'm going to create a good or services that other people want, only I'm going to do it super efficiently using land, labor, and capital. Okay. So entrepreneurism is really, really hard, though. 50% of all businesses fail within 4 years, 70% fail within 10 years because when you're an entrepreneur, it's all on you. You're going to make that business and it's going to succeed or fail based on your ability to use land, labor, and capital efficiently. So don't think it's not. When we say it's a risk, it is a risk, and most entrepreneurs will fail, but a lot of these people will try again in creating a different business. So failure is not the end. So an entrepreneur combines those factors of production, those resources, to make life more efficient, productive, and overall, it's better. You get goods and services you like, they get profit. They make choices understanding the cost of the risks of combining those land, labor, and capital to deal with scarcity. They meet your self interest, the goods and services they want. They meet their own self interest, which is profit, money, cash money. You don't like the goods and services that entrepreneur presents, don't buy them. Go somewhere else. But the reason why Jeff Bezos is very, very wealthy and can buy yachts is because everybody really, really, really likes Amazon and they get a lot of self interest met. If you choose not to like Amazon, don't buy from Amazon, go buy from somebody else. That's kind of how markets work. And all these people are examples of entrepreneurs that have met the self interest of consumers. These would be producers. There are people that, and these are the exceptions. Most entrepreneurs at some point are going to fail. Okay. So, What we have here is we have land, labor, and capital. And an entrepreneur takes land, labor, capital and produces some kind of good or service. Now, sometimes when it comes to capital goods, the capital goods like a scissors or a pencil or a factory or a truck go right back into creating more stuff. Like, you can use a cell phone to create different cell phone apps. It's that kind of form of capital. And eventually those new goods and services are going to actually become things that other people consume. Okay. So, land, labor, capital, entrepreneurs put all that together to meet your self interest and their own.